Managing expectations.
This is your first day in real estate, and I am your real estate sales trainer and coach, James Festini. And this is the program that's going to teach you how to sell more real estate in less time.
Managing expectations is probably one of the things that can kill you, make or break you in this real estate industry. And it's kind of unmentioned. People talk about real estate mindset, the millionaire mindset, what it takes to succeed in real estate, in the mindset. But when you look at mindset, what did you set your mind to? Mindset. Not necessarily what is your active mindset, but what was the setting pre existing, like a default operating system, right? A DOS. See, when you open up an Android versus an iOS phone, meaning Samsung versus Apple iPhone, right? There's two different operating systems, and each one of them function fantastic, right? I mean, Samsung used to have a real big problem, and it was always glitchy and viruses and all that. I have both. I have a Samsung and an Android. And the difference between Samsung and an Android, Samsung is Android, Android is Samsung. Android operating system is a lot more flexible, a lot more versatile, and in my opinion, a lot more distractions. Because your expectations of an Android is variety and unlimited potential in the way you design and set up, and then the applications within that software. It's easier for somebody to create an app for an Android. Therefore, it's easier to create a crappy app for an Android. Where if you look at the iOS, if maybe you don't know about this, maybe you're not a techie, I could see how for you it's like, what? It's the difference between a Windows machine and Apple or Macintosh. For those of you who kind of know the difference there, they're similar, but they're different. Kind of like men and women. They're similar. You know, we have pretty much 99% of the same body parts, but it's that 1% that makes a difference. The brain and the, you know what? Well, I don't know nowadays. But what I'm getting at is, what about the expectations as a real estate agent, and how does this relate to, Androids from Mars, iPhones from Venus? The simplicity of an iPhone, for example, that's why I use the iPhone, is just, I don't want to think about it. I don't like, it drives me crazy to wear colors. My wife keeps buying me all these colored shirts and colored ties, but if it was up to me, I would literally just have white dress shirts, a vest, because I'm fat. Maybe when I lose weight, I won't wear vests as often. I think they look cool too. I used to wear suspenders when I was thinner, and that was cool. But I would wear just like a white dress shirt, red tie. But ever since Donald Trump came onto the scene, red ties kind of like have that, it's Donald Trump. And people have kind of noted that. So I think gold. What am I getting at? Simplicity. Steve Jobs, Albert Einstein, and Jeff Goldblum from The Fly all talk about this same simplicity. I'm sure there's many, many others that they just want to go in, grab jeans and a t-shirt and be done with it, because I don't want to burn any more mental calories on the day. That way I can manifest my expectations and alter my reality without having to think about other things. Like, I did not like having to go in my closet and be like, Blue, does this tie match? How do my pants look? It's just, give me 10 pairs of pants, give me 10 dress shirts. Don't make me know whether they're dirty or clean, Nicole, my wife. I just don't want to think about it. And just a gold tie. Give me 20 different gold ties. Just make them gold. So I don't have to think about it, right? And then people aren't like, what, are you wearing the same clothes every day? Yeah. Change my underwear and socks, though. What I'm getting at is your expectations of the real estate business before you go in is a setting that's pre-programmed like Android or Apple. When you open it up, it's there. When you open up an iPhone, for example, you go in and you set up a few settings. You set up your email, you set up your calendar, and maybe you download a couple of applications that you're familiar with. Perhaps maybe you don't like the native Apple mapping, you like Google Maps. Perhaps you want to add a few podcasts to your channel. Maybe you like YouTube, you grab that. Facebook doesn't come pre-installed. Stuff like that. Same with the other one. You kind of like add these customizations. And when you come into the real estate business, it's very similar. You add these customizations to your expectation, and therefore it sets your mind for an expectation, thus in turn, mind set, preset, default operating system, DOS. When you open the package and turn on the power, it is iOS, the Apple software. That's it. Add a few things, but the fundamentals will always be there. Those fundamentals are your expectations, and that's why I like working with new agents. But then again, I don't, because the new agents probably even then have an expectation or an idea of what it can be or what it should be because they watched $1 Million Listing. Or if any of you new agents, do me a huge favor, huge favor. In the comments below, tell me, what was your first expectation? Just one sentence. What was that first thing that triggered you into the real estate business? My daughter asked me the other day, she goes, Dad, how'd you get into real estate? Or how did your mom and dad get into real estate? I go, my parents bought a house in 1984 in this part of town, North Orange County, and they used a real estate agent. Her name was Sparky, and she was actually a very like sparky woman. She was full of life. I wish I could find her. When I remembered Sparky, I was like, I remembered Sparky. Haven't heard her ever since, right? But they met this woman, and this woman convinced them to go into real estate. And so my mom got her license probably in 85, maybe, right? And then my dad soon after, 86, 87, got his license, left his job as an engineer. Actually, I think he was let go. There's a lot of cuts, and he was there at that job. It's one of those like, been at the company, 19 and a half years, but just before the 20-year mark and the gold watch and like the whole package, they cut him loose, even though he was super loyal, ridiculously loyal, kind of like I am to Century 21. But I'm sure if they could let me go, they would, but whatever. I don't think they would. But they don't profit from me much. That's the thing when you're a top producer. Your cuts are so different than the rookies that they make more money off the new agents than they do off of you. And maybe they leverage your notoriety and say, look who we have. But it's not much of an advantage because real estate agents, again, expectations coming in brand new to the business. You go in there and you're like, who should I go with? And then all of a sudden you're like, well, oh, what's this commission splits? Oh my gosh, wait a second. That company wants 50% and that company wants 0%. Which one should I choose? Well, hold on now. This one offers training and this one doesn't. So I get the value there. But then this one does, and then once you get there, KW, they force so much training down your throat that if you hire me as a one-on-one coach, you could save your money, step away, tell them to stop emailing you, leave you alone, and we'll do this. We'll fix your expectations because most of the time the people up on the stage are not practicing real estate agents who are really pushing a ton of business through their pipeline because what top producer has time to sit there and be like, yeah, no problem. I'll take a day off to teach a bunch of agents who probably will annihilate me if they actually apply to anything that I tell them and they'll be my competition. So yeah, sure, no problem. I'll train my competition. No. I mean, I would not take a one-on-one student in my farm, hail to the no. But still knowing that there's probably a 99.999% chance that they wouldn't do anything I'm doing anyhow. But on that off chance that they actually do want to work really hard, yeah, I don't want it. So let's talk about the expectations of the new agent and what they come in with. And who was your first impression and how do you manage it? You got to start from the beginning. When you see a brand new agent come in and they come in and they say, I want to do X amount of business. So again, the first initial interpretation of how this business operates would be Bravo TV. Right? Maybe that's a big one, fix or flip, or engaging, or seeing the top agent who's doing a bunch of business in the area and you see their sign everywhere and you see they drive a Lamborghini or something and you're like, wow, I could do that. Then you start setting up this expectation that if they can do it, so can I. And suddenly you're working in the business and you didn't really set yourself up to realize perhaps that agent has been in this marketplace for 30 years. You're thinking you're going to kick their butt. They've been here 30 years. So either you work twice as hard for 15 years and spend twice as much money for 15 years because they've been investing financially and in time for 30 years in order to beat them in half the time, you got to do twice as much. It's pretty simple math. And in a quarter of the time, twice as much, or you could work harder and smarter and maybe do it in still a quarter of the time. But somehow your expectation is I've read the 10x rule and I've read Crush It, and I'm going to go out there and I'm going to go into beast mode. And then it doesn't happen because your expectation was not in line with reality, right? Expectation, reality, big difference. And then you go into the marketplace defeated, frustrated, down. Why can't I convert these online inquiries? Why can't I knock on 100 doors and get a listing? How come I make 20 calls a day and I don't get a listing? Why? That's what they said would happen, but it's not happening. It's because your expectations were sold to you on a dream. Kind of like when you go to one of those timeshare, not timeshare, kind of when you go to one of those multi MLM marketing things where they're like, look at our poster boy, look how much they're making, and so can you. And you're like, they're an idiot. I could totally do that. And then you go out there and you're like, oh, how are they doing that? Because you're sold a wolf ticket. Look that up. You sold a wolf ticket, meaning it's a team. You're sold a ticket to a game for a team that doesn't exist, and you bought the ticket. You bought the ticket to the carnival, and when you show up, there's no carnival. It's closed. It's been closed for a long time. It was never actually open. It was just a facade to get you to buy the ticket. The person who is selling the ticket is the one making the money. The person showing you from the stage and from the number one Instagram or from the number one, they're always selling you something. Me too. I'm selling you something. But the difference is if you've noticed my viewership, it's extremely low because I'm selling reality, and reality doesn't sell. People want the fantasy. People buy diamonds because they want the fantasy. They would sooner buy the diamonds and drive a crappy car because they can walk with the diamonds and say, look at my bling bling at the mall, but they park at the end of the parking lot and make sure no one's watching, and they'll walk into the mall with, a Nordstrom's bag, and all it's got is their sack lunch. It's my dad would say, eat, eat shit, burp turkey. Your expectation is being sold to you by someone who more than likely is showing you someone who more than likely or is demonstrating themselves as someone who eats shit and burps turkey. Come mierda y rompe pavo is the name. And that is, you're at home, you're eating a cup of noodles, but when you're going out to your friends, you're like, oh, I had the best soup. It was from China, especially imported. And you're like, oh, tell me more about, oh, the noodles were so fresh. And then at home, it's like a cup of noodles, cup of soup, right? Top ramen. Based on your expectation and your original introduction into the real estate business, what truly is your potential? I would say, look at the number one agent and do this math. The number one agent, and do the math. So for me, and there's three factors: your mind. I thought of these yesterday. It was your mind, your heart, and the reality. It's the reality, the mindset, and the heart against the competition. And yes, you are your only competition, but if you're trying to run a 5-hour marathon, you kind of have to know, is that possible? Yeah, it's possible. Okay, Oprah did it in like 3 something. It's crazy, right? P. Diddy under 4. My goal is 5 hours. I've done it in like 5:26 with my fastest time. So I know what it takes, 11 20-minute miles to get the 26.2 under 5. So I have a set expectation, but I'm not competing with Ryan Hall, who's an American world-class marathoner. Can I compete with Ryan Hall? Hell no. He's taller, younger, faster, and he's been running since the womb, right? And forget Kenya, those guys like run, in the womb. So I'm not competing with like the greatest, but I can at least see the greatest in my hyper local market, and that's your first recognition of who, what, where, when, how can I possibly, what is my potential? Because if you go to a seminar and someone's saying, I do 100 deals a year, and you're like, I can do 100. And then you get home and realize the number one agent who's been in the marketplace for 20 years and actually does, everything necessary. And they got, a team of 2 or 3 and they're doing 80. What makes you, rookie, think you're going to do 100? Now, I'm not insulting the fact that you watch Grant Cardone every day and you're, a Gary Vee fan, right? And that you listen to Valuetainment and all those podcasts. I'm not insulting your heart. You might have the guts, the heart to do it. And you might have the mindset. But the biggest reason you'll fail is your reality, your expectations. Your expectation is the reality. And if your expectation is based in a false reality, you're going to fail. If you go out there and think you're going to do 100, you're going to do something that's never been done. Maybe an REO king, but if there's no REOs, then no. So let's reset that. Number one agent does, let's say the number one agent in your marketplace does 100. What does the number two agent do? Because you're not number one, and don't go there. I'm not going to be Ryan Hall, the American runner. So I'm not going to compare to him. What's number two? Well, running's a little bit different. I have to go to like number 2 million and like say, what does a 46-year-old man who's 50 pounds overweight with intermediate, maybe 7, I've done 7 marathons, but what is my expectation really? Beyond mindset, I've got the heart because I can complete 26.2 miles. I've got the mindset because I know I've done it before, but the reality is I'm not training. I'm too heavy. I'm too old. So if I adjust based on that and maybe even previous experience, if you're lucky enough to have that for a couple of years, then I could say, you know what, Festini, if you really barrel in, you lose the weight, you train hard, you could break 5. And if you really if you went bananas and lost your marbles, you could break 4. It's not out of the realm of possibility based on, well, immediately 50 pounds lighter. I'm running right now with a 7-year-old child on my back. Imagine if I threw the child off and I kept going. Wow. 4 hours, not out of the realm of possibility for my physical self. So my mindset is, what do I need to do to achieve that reality? What do you need to do to achieve that reality? So we're looking at the math. The number one agent does 100. Let's set that off to the side. No? Okay, fine. The number one agent in my territory, she's at 80. But let's put a few other factors into place. She's been in the business for 30 years in this area. She's got deep roots. My biggest mistake in real estate was ripping up my roots. I've lifted my roots 6 or 7 times and reinvented myself as a top agent, but not the top agent until the last move before this move. I was the top agent. But those roots took 13 years to grow in that previous marketplace of like 40 sides a year and 300K a year all year long, hitting like 505 one year and then 490. This is like 6, 7, 8, right? Anyhow, she's been in the business for 20 years or 30 years. I've been in 26. So I can compete with knowledge. She might be smarter, but I don't know that she's got the heart because she's been in that long. She just has the knowledge and tenure, and she's got 2 agents working under her. From what I could see, it's her son and daughter. But I'm going to guess at about 80 transactions a year, she's probably got, I think any agent who does more than 10, you need an assistant for every 10. You could probably pull off 20. So let's say an assistant for every 20. I would say she's got at least 5 people working under her, at least. So now we're talking like a 7-person. So I can't compete with that. It's like saying, can you do a tug of war with 7 people? No. So why are they, right? So I'm already eliminating the reasons why I can do it unless I've got the tenure and I find 7 people under me who are going to work as hard as I do, or at least close enough, which is again, not realistic unless I give them, 100% of their take and split anything you know what I mean? They're going to have to, in order for someone to work as hard as you're going to have to give them what you get. And that's not profitable. Otherwise, they're like 50% here. I've already learned everything he knows. See you later, right? Training the competition. Rarity. Rarity. Nothing to be afraid of, but it happens. So we go into um, skill set. Skill set. I believe I'm far more skilled at lead generating, and she has the goose that lays the golden egg. If you've ever watched any of my other episodes, she has that going for her. She gets the come list me's. I don't, because I'm only 3 years this March in this marketplace. And I'm finally getting that traction. The notoriety I'm getting, but I'm not getting the come list me, and I'm not getting the, oh yeah, you're great when I do it. I love your marketing kind of thing. That's still yet to come. She's been here 30 years. As far as the world's concerned, I'm only 3 years, right? And I'm doing it through old-fashioned hard work and prospecting, and not spending money on my ego to be known as she probably does. Not in my area. I've never seen her mailers here. But there is the number. Okay, so let's go to the number two agent. Number two agent is probably about 40 to 50 sides a year. So let's go back to the number two agent. So can you compete with a number one agent? No. You haven't been in here 30 years. If you have you been doing it right for 30 years? Probably not. You've been on and off. So what do you do? How do you compete with that? Here's the math. How long have they been in? How long have you been in? If they've been in 10 years and you're in 1 year, you need to work twice as hard. And if you work twice as smart and twice as hard, maybe you can shave it down to 30% of, maybe you can work at 130% speed. I'm not going to be able to translate the math properly. But maybe what you're trying to do is accelerate success based on how they did it and how you can do it, but speed it up. And the only way you can speed things up is money and hard work. And the hard work takes time. Money, you got to have a lot of money. So let's say this number one agent has spent probably, I don't know, $5 million, safe to say. She's been pretty well known, so $5 million. So you would have to spend $10 million? Is this crazy? $10 million to catch up to her notoriety in 10 years. So you take, $1 million a year marketing budget, because you're still going to have this resistance to people's internal memory and recognition. Unless you blanketed $1 million a year and you dropped a mailer in people's mailbox every 14 days, but you spend half your life tracking down people who are like, get me off your mailing list. Get me out. Seriously, you'll have that when you start mailing people. They'll be like, take me off. You're like, oh my gosh. You have to hire a full-time assistant dropping that much, 20, 30, 40,000 pieces every 2 weeks. So that maybe by the end of the year, someone will be like, I see you everywhere, but they don't realize it's because you spent $1 million getting there. So notoriety, you could speed it up through money. Skill. No amount of skill. It's like boxing. You're not going to be, unless you got this weird God-given natural talent, skill is going to take time. That's where I come in. I can get you there, but if you don't want it, if you don't have to want it, you heard my last one? You don't want to have to, because then you're being forced to. You don't want to have to, but you have to want to.
Welcome to the Festini Factor, a weekly program that every day of the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you're gonna get a piece of content, actionable items, something that will be an absolute no-brainer. Every weekday, you're gonna receive one video. Monday, we're gonna have motivational messages. Monday Mindset is what it's called. One of the questions everyone asks, how do I keep going? I'm gonna let you in on that. The Monday Motivational. Tuesday is going to be technology. Every Tuesday, I'm going to deliver you a message about the latest and greatest technology, whether it's old school or new school. Every week, you're going to get a Technology Tuesday tip. Wednesday, Wednesday is marketing. Whether you do it online or you're going old school, if you're going door to door and you're creating marketing pieces, you're creating flyers, every Wednesday I'm going to deliver to you actionable plans, actionable items where you can download a template for marketing, whether it's an email marketing piece or an actual printed piece that you can take with you to the doors, or a mailer that you can do. You can start adding and building your letter library. Wednesday is going to be marketing pieces, the world of marketing. That's a big day for us. Thursday is going to be sellers, exclusively dedicated to handling sellers, either obtaining listings, negotiating contracts, scripts, dialogues, expires for sell-by owners, you name it. If it's a seller, I'm going to cover it. And of course, Friday, the last day of the week, setting you up for the weekend, buyers. Every Friday, I'm going to give you tips and pieces of advice on how to generate buyer leads, how to handle buyer leads, and that includes negotiating, how to get your offer accepted, how to write the perfect offer, a whole system that I share with you so that you can go out there and get to work. Thanks for watching.
I gotta repeat that because that's my phrase. You don't want to have to, but you have to want to. And if you really truly want to, not like I want to, but I have to want to because it's in my bones and it burns and it's the, you know what I mean? I have to. Failure is not an option. See, but for me, I have to want to because I've got to support a family and I've got big, but that's such a rarity, right? I mean, you look at, like, again, I always bring up Grant Cardone and Gary Vaynerchuk because the majority of you guys probably watch them too. And you look at their expectations and the reality, but they set their expectations according to a reality that matches in line with their guts, their mindset, and the reality. Now, they also think a little bit bigger than most of us, but because of their mindset and their heart, they can catch up to that reality. If you have any of these missing as a brand new agent, if your expectations say, I'm going to sell 100 sides a year and the number one agent did it, never has done it, the reality is, yeah, you could do it, but you'd have to be a unicorn. You'd have to be a freak to do it. You'd have to immediately like kick on a team because you wouldn't be able to beat them fast enough to do it in the amount of time that before you burn out or drop dead because of just the work. I've heard the hardest business to open ever is a restaurant. So if that's the case, this is like opening, 100 restaurants, right? Because you're trying to like launch 100 restaurants in 1 year and doing it yourself. It's just not going to happen. You're going to need to hire 100 waiters, 100 cooks, 100, 100. Do you understand like the unrealistic expectations set for you without money? All of these things can be cured by money, by the way, guys. If you got the money, then talk to me. You got the money, pay me one-on-one, and I'll teach you how to get there. Probably not to the 100. Even me, with my coaching and training, and if you paid me and you showed up in my office every morning and you paid me 3 times what I normally charge, you showed up every morning, you said, here we go, and you had a list and you like knew how to be coached, I still couldn't promise you, well, no, if you had the money, yeah, if you had the money, I could definitely get you to the competition. Well, when I'm talking if you have the money, we're talking like $10 million in a year. Because we're going to have to do a blitzkrieg campaign of exposure. And I'm talking like sponsoring every sport in every high school, middle school, and junior high school with a banner immediately. Wrapping 6 or 7 vehicles because every team member would own a Mercedes-Benz Sprinter with a wrap. We're talking like all-out assault, guerrilla warfare assault in the marketplace. I'd buy, like I said, 10 little shorter Mercedes and I'd wrap them. And I'd say, each employee, this is your car. No more. I'll pay for your gas. I'll pay for your insurance. This is your car. You're driving it. Don't freaking, that's it. Whatever car you drive now, no driving it. If I'm going to pay for it, this is your car. Any problems? I'd be like, not at all. I would actually upgrade it to be an office, and we would deploy. I'm telling you, I got a vision. I got a vision, but it's an expensive vision, right? And it's probably almost too late, or maybe it's on time. But with this vision, I can see the reality with enough money. Without enough money, the reality starts to fade. And I'm not saying don't be a dreamer. Steve Jobs, Michelangelo, the greats, right? Edison, Bell, Marconi, Columbus. These guys who like saw what wasn't there and made it, right? That is possible. Out of nothing came something. But could you do that? I'm telling you, it's such a long shot for your expectation to line up with the reality and have your heart, have enough blood pumping through that heart for enough. It's endurance, tenacity. That's the one word my dad really like. If you asked my father when he was alive, what's the one word to describe my son? It would be tenacity. He would always be like, "Damn, son, you are you got tenacity." I almost tattooed it right here, tenacity, because it's true. That's what exists in the beast, is this one purpose. And if I had more help, I could take my purpose and grab people to go there, but I just never get ahead. And that's really the reality of why I moved to this territory, is because before I was slinging 150 to $250,000 homes, and it would take me 40 to keep like my head above the water because of my lifestyle, and I got kids, and I got, I like to have fun, live fast, die young. And if you don't die young, just keep living fast, but work hard too. And then you get this reality and these expectations lined up with tenacity. That's right here, tenacity. But tenacity is here too. And tenacity doesn't agree sometimes with reality. And you can have a goal, but if the expectation isn't just slightly above or below the goal, then it becomes just fantasy, and it turns into frustration, burnout, and then suddenly you're joining a team because you get more leads. You're signing up with any one of these online inquiry generators, and you spend your money there, and then suddenly a month later and $1,200 later, you're like, I've gotten 100 names and numbers and email addresses, but I still don't have a deal. What's going on here? How how to convert online leads? And the computer should be like, spell check, and then you click spell check, and it suggests inquiries. That'd be awesome, wouldn't it, if it suggested inquiry? Because that's the reality of the situation. The reality. How to set your mindset to line up with the reality, expectation, and do you have the guts to support it? Do you have the mindset? Reality, expectation, mindset. You manage those expectations and be slightly unrealistic. But if you're going to be slightly unrealistic, you better have the guts, the huevos, the cojones, the gusto, the grit, the 10x, the crush it. That's here, because there is no crush it without guts. There is no 10xing anything without tenacity. Tenacity is heart, drive, perseverance, consistency, weathering the storm, seeing the storm and running right into it and not stopping. The marathon, my biggest problem with marathons back in the day was I always had to poop. TMI, whatever. You're running around making milkshakes, 26.2 miles, proper diet, not proper diet, mindset, because a lot of psychological anxiety, you poop. So I would always stop. And then by about mile 17, I only pooped twice, but that's a stop, right? When you're running at like mile 10 and you stop to sit down on this disgusting porta potty in your mind, and then you get back on, your legs are all, and then you lose 5 minutes and you never quite recover. So my last two marathons, I had better times because I didn't stop. And those were the first two times I didn't stop. And that was the weirdest thing, because at about mile 15, mile 20, I saw people stopping to stretch. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm not stopping. Now, I'm not running. Running's not the operative word. It's jogging a marathon, or never walking, though. It was never a walk. I never backed off of that. tenacity, mindset, expectation. I, because of my proper training in those last two marathons, could realistically have an expectation because I did the distance and I knew it was possible. And I did, when you're training for a marathon, you do like an 18-mile run and then you do a 20-mile run just to say, if you can do this by yourself on a weekend as you're leading up to it, it's a very, very specific program to run a marathon. You don't just like do it. And if you can just do it, you're in the wrong business. You got something, right? But you just don't do it. You lead up to it so that you can set your mind. So can you do the prerequisites in training to expect results in a marathon similar to my expectations in a marathon? And the only reason I didn't hit 5 hours the last time was the one expectation I did not have was it was hot. It was very hot and the uphill, and it got in my head, right? That was the only reason my mindset was thrown off. It's in San Diego and you go up a hill, and then right when I hit the hill, it was just hot, right? And I just, the proper, I just, like I was dehydrated because there's these gaps between the water stations, and they should have a water station in between this gap, and they don't. And so had I had maybe a little water container and had my expectations that, hey man, remember that because I've run that same marathon 7 times. I know that hill off the freeway in San Diego. I know that one. And I know they've never had a water station, but I've never had that problem. But now that I know and I've learned because of my years of doing it, now I know if I hit that hill, I better have some sort of nutrients and I better be better prepared for it so that when that happens, and that's how you build a reality and you build your expectations rather than allowing someone else to set them for you. And how do you do that as a new agent? You got to look at the first thing, and that is who's the number one agent, and go to 50% of their capability. So get like the top 20 agents or top 10 agents in your market, the top 10 agents in your market, and go right in the middle, right? Right in that middle and say, that's doable. But let's see. Let's look. The middle agent and the one up and the one down, the fourth and the sixth agent, how many people do they have? Because the strength comes in numbers. So how many people, how long have they been in the business? Those are the two factors that you cannot overcome in the beginning. You can hire one more person, but if you don't know what you're doing, what are you going to do with this other person? Hire them as a telemarketer? Really? A telemarketer? And you're doing what? You're telemarketing too. Okay, got it. Because you're learning from me. But why would you hire a second? Never mind. No, it's stupid. They're not hiring telemarketers. They're hiring assistants because they've been there 5 years. So if they're doing it 5 years, they're in the middle. You're like, what else is what other factor is there? You go to their About Me page and they're like, they were a top sales executive for Xerox. They're like, okay, they've got sales skills. They know the closing. And look at them at Mojo. That guy's handsome. I'm not that handsome. Looks matter, right? She's gorgeous. I'm not that gorgeous. Looks help. So it's a blessing and a curse. Take it from someone who might. I've been told I'm pretty good looking, so that's a rumor. But it helps to have a presence. If you look at them like, damn, that dude looks like Mel Gibson. That's the thing, right? So okay, but then you look at number 4, and you're like, they're ugly and they're new. What else is there? Oh yeah, they were a top sales rep for the regional, Starbucks in this region. So they know sales, they got skills. What else? Well, About Me, and you look in their thing and they're like, and they have a team of 5. And then you never really know the truth, right? I mean, if I had a superpower, if I could have a superpower, one of those superpowers would be the ability to be invisible. Like, that is my superpower. What's your superpower, by the way? In the comments below, say, I would like this superpower. My superpower, invisibility, all day long. No doubt about it. And what would I do with that invisibility first? Well, first I'd rob a bank. Yeah, insured banks, of course. I'd rob a bank, or yeah, I'd rob a bank. No, I wouldn't need to rob a bank because I wouldn't need money because I'd be invisible and I could live wherever I want. So I wouldn't need money because I could just like walk in anywhere and eat the food. So no, you don't need money if you're invisible, do you? Hmm. So I wouldn't rob a bank. I'd get to the bank and I'd be like, what am I going to do with this? I can do whatever I want. I'm overthinking this, right? But what I would do first, one of the first things, is I would go into the top real estate agents' offices and stand over their shoulder, and I would wait for the moment that defines their success. I'd sneak into their house at night and I'd wait for them to see what time they woke up. I'd take notes. Agent wakes up at 4:30 a.m. Impressive. Agent is, I see their driver's license. Agent is 60. Very impressive. 4 a.m. Is at the gym at 4:30. Very impressive. Watches porn for an hour and a half. You dirty bird. I'm going to leave the room for that one. Gross, right? Is in the office by 8:30 and pulls up expireds. Oh, I didn't know they pulled up the expireds. That's very interesting. Oh, wait, they're not pulling up the expireds. They're just reading the MLS. Okay, that's not the moment that defines their success. What is it? They're studying, so that's, yeah, helps, right? Knowledge is power. Limited knowledge in a limited scope of limited things is still knowledge, and that means you don't need to know the whole world, but they do know what's new, what's listed, what's sold, what the activity is. They can watch those things, so that's interesting. What else? And then I'd see them go to Zillow.com on the back end, the account. What is this? Their user interface says, oh, they're clicking auto renew. $30,000 a month. Done. Have a nice day. And I would like throw their papers all over the floor and run out. They'd be like, what the hell is that? And I'd go to the next one. And I'd be like, what is the defining moment that does it? And I would observe each one of them and be like, what is that one thing? Because that's what we're looking for, is the silver bullet. And in many cases, it's going to be a combination. If I go to the number one agent in my region that I consider competition only because I started when she started and I know who she was and I could have beat her if I stayed here and planted my roots. So they are in my sights, but there's another two or three women that are on my sights at this end. So I would go to them and I'd be like, well, first of all, they're a woman. I'm the man. So advantage, disadvantage doesn't matter. They're older, so advantage. And then I'd walk into the room and I'd be like, who are these 15 people? And they would go to this person and answer them. I'd be like, done. They got 15 people. I'm not going to play tug of war with 15 people. I'm done with that. So, and I would look at the fourth, fifth, and sixth and set my expectation based on that reality. And I would report back to you guys and be like, and I would probably make it a job. I'd be like, okay, guys, I'm going to infiltrate the top agent in town and I'm going to say, this is what we're going to do. And and here you go. Does this all make sense? Wow, 40 minutes. I'm convinced that every topic in real estate I could speak on for an hour easily. Mindset and expectations 40 minutes later, and I just so many combinations of things that would set your mindset. And then there's that freak moment. There's a video on the internet, maybe I'll link it below if I have time, of a woman who's running in a foot race around a track. Maybe you've seen it. She's running, and she falls. Like, she's kind of in the lead, and then she falls. And when you're in track and you're doing, I don't know, maybe it's half mile, quarter mile. I don't know what she's doing, but there's like 4 or 5 laps, 2 or 3 laps. 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe it's the mile because she does do 4, but it's not a 5-minute video, so it could be a quarter mile. I don't know. Anyhow, she's running, and when you're running alongside of people, there's like 4 people, and they're all kind of neck to neck, neck and neck and neck and neck and neck. She falls. When you're running neck and neck, and you fall, it's over. Like, they're so far ahead of you, and you're all equally paced. Forget it. She falls, she gets up and keeps running. Have you seen this video? And running and catches up. And just at the finish line, wins. Imagine what would happen if she could bottle that chase forever. It'd be superhuman. That is superhuman, by the way. That is superhuman. That is an anomaly. It's a freak show. It's like 4 cars driving 50 miles an hour. One stops for 2 seconds and then runs, 50 miles an hour and then somehow catches up. But it's not 50 miles an hour. It would, you get in the math, like they would have to be like 55, 60 miles an hour, which, like, the car has got a governor that says it can only go to. How is this possible? The mindset, the reality went out the window. That was unrealistic for her to get up. But her guts and her mindset blew out of scale the possibility of failure. She had to want to win. There was no way She didn't she didn't have to want to. She wanted to have to so much that she caught up, man. That's just I like that video. Like I watched that video a lot just to see him like amazing. Amazing. I wonder what she did go on to do. But again, this is just like how can you be a big final track meet, fall and catch up? That would make you the fastest person, in the state or like in the country, right? I mean, think about it. How fast would you have to be to do that? How much do you want it? Can you line up the expectation, the reality, and your heart? This is where I come in. Let me help you. I've got all of my products for sale. Now it's just one big fat bundle and a little teaser bundle. So I've got 3 items that you can buy. I've got the Festini Mafia membership, the university, $30 a month. Every day you get a video, 5-minute video every day, weekday. Then you go into the T100. The T100 is 50 hours. Like this is what's going to happen. This is probably going to end up in the T100, probably just to be there. But this is I'm going to put this on YouTube too. So the T100 is this never before seen or published. But I think this has to go. This is a very powerful message of mindset. And so you put these two, the T100, it's got the Beast Mode Lead Gen Prospecting Challenge, the New Agent Startup, DNC Compliance, the 100-day Prospecting Challenge. Like every product you've ever heard me say is inside of that, the next 90. So it's over 100 videos, over 50 hours, $300. I should have made you guess. How much would you pay for that? $300. 6 months ago, that combination would have been probably 2,500, 3,000, somewhere about that. $300 for over 50 hours of my mouth to your ears of this everything, not just cold calling and door knocking, but the mechanics and the logic and the mindset and the scripts, dialogues, presentations, slam package, everything I know is in that package, and I'm still adding to it. And then one-on-one coaching. I do one-on-one coaching. I have some spaces available. I'm probably going to raise my prices again today, just because I'm getting too busy in real estate, and it's like anytime I lower the prices, people don't pay for it. Anytime I raise the prices, people pay for it. I only charge you what it takes away from me. And then my knowledge is a bonus. Does that make sense? So if I make $150 an hour, because I do the math, I make $150 an hour. My coaching is $150 an hour. So where's my knowledge value, right? My knowledge is probably another 100. I'm probably with my knowledge and my intrinsic value of selling real estate, it's probably about $300 an hour. And I should charge you $300 an hour, but I don't. So my coaching, go to jamesfestini.com, the training. If you just want to deep dive, the best way to do this is become a one-on-one student of mine. And on this message only, don't call me out later if it doesn't exist. But if you become a one-on-one student, as of this recording, January, 2019, my one-on-one coaching is $1,500. I will include that $300 T100 at no extra cost. That's at the $1,500 level. So if you guys just paid $1,000, you're gonna have to pay the $300 for that program. It's just I can't give away. The $1,500 level, by the way, is going to be an hour a week, where it used to be a half hour a week. I've found that every time I do one-on-one, I do 30 minutes, and then we're there for like 45 to an hour anyhow. So I'm just like, let's just do an hour. But when we do an hour, I'm going to, be on the phone with you. I'm going to like, hey, Alexa, set a timer for 1 hour. And then I'm going to say, got it? Because we need to hang up. Like when this goes off, I'm hanging up on you. Fair enough. And I'll keep a timer and you'll know we can't do that. You can't take from me because you're taking from my kids. And I'm a real estate agent. But again, these are the products I offer to you guys. If you want to know more, go to jamesfestini.com. This is like a webinar at 47 minutes. But thank you very much for watching. Subscribe. I'm a prolific Instagram storyteller. I tell Snapchat and Instagram. So whatever your platform is, Snapchat, Instagram. My main go-to is YouTube. Subscribe to my YouTube channel with the alerts. Make sure you hit that little bell so you're notified the minute I get it, right? That way it becomes trending and you get to watch it right away. Go to Snapchat. If you're not using Snapchat, then don't bother, right? Instagram, stories, Facebook, stories. Prolific, man. Every day I'm doing, if you guys saw how much I give in that platform, But again, if you get notifications on these things, you'll know because I'm creating a lot of content. A lot of content. Give. All I ask is that at minimum, oh, you know what? At minimum, I do have Patreon. You're familiar with Patreon? You want to put a tip in the tip jar? Go to patreon.com/James Festini, and just for the hell of it, say I'm going to give him $10 a month. As long as James keeps producing, just sign up at $10 a month, and that's just kind of like a thank you automatic. My Chipotle. You buy me a burrito a month. It's just respect for the Godfather and what he's given you. I don't want to pitch all that stuff, but do you feel guilty yet if you haven't bought any products or even gone to Patreon? At what point are you going to feel guilty that I'm changing your life? I would hope that what I say to you sinks in so deep that you're like, yep, that's exact. If you thinking to yourself, I needed to hear this, shouldn't you pay for it? The life of a YouTuber. And then we have people like Rick Gonzalez, who sent me a coffee mug with the Godfather and a picture of my mobile command center and a card that was my painting that I did over my holiday vacation. Thanks, Rick. Show some respect for the Godfather. If you're learning, if you're not learning, hit that unsubscribe button and go away, because I don't want you to not have the mindset that I give you and then have you go click on, I don't know, the Father, the Son, or the Irishman, the Father, the Son, or the Holy Irishman, and then change your mindset because their expectations are not based in reality. They're showing you their poster boy. They're selling you wolf tickets at a high price. I'm selling you tickets to the Super Bowl, and they're legit. You guys want to be a winner? Stick with me, because I'm there. That's why I'm continuing to document this. Tenacity, people. Mindset, tenacity. Reality, tenacity. Heart, tenacity. And you too can be a champion.
This episode is brought to you by mojosells.com. Expireds for sell by owners and prospecting solutions along with DNC compliance. It is my CRM of choice because I can set up emails and letters and follow-up campaigns to follow up more efficiently with the leads that I generate. Go to mojosells.com and make sure you tell them Festini sent you. This episode is also brought to you by Spodio, the perfect door knock companion. Download the Spodio app today. You want more knowledge? Please find me anywhere you consume content. On YouTube, go to James Festini. If you want to listen to my content on iTunes, please leave me a 5-star review. Join the Festini Mafia at jamesfestini.com/training. There you'll find all of my products and information. If you like to make money, get back to work.